Hey everyone, this is Nikachu Merfolk Master, and the new Unset is coming out, Unsanctioned, and the beautiful thing about these sets is that they always come with these really incredibly beautiful basic lands. Why is that important? Because every single deck needs basic lands, and it's the one thing you're always going to be playing with, and to have basic lands with beautiful, gorgeous art is it is something that you want to find your favorite art. You want to find an art that you can fall in love with to be in your deck, because you're going to be with that deck for a very long time. So Unsanctioned is out, and we're going to analyze and evaluate both the art of Adam Paquette's, and we're also going to take just a look at the overall design for these unsanctioned lands. But I have to say, Adam Paquette did an amazing job. These lands are absolutely gorgeous. I think they're going to be very, very popular, and I want to get into why I think these lands are so good looking and so amazing. So let's start off with the plains. Now the plains is always like the single most cursed art of Magic the Gathering. For the most part, when I look at the picture of any sort of art, I want to be able to look at it and admire it. I want to be able to look at it. I want to stare at it. But when it comes to the plains, we're talking like 99% of the plains in Magic. I just want to put it down. I don't want to stare at it. It just gives me feelings of boredom. I'm not interested. There's nothing that catches my eye, or it doesn't give me any good emotion or anything. Maybe I'm biased because I'm from like the prairie end of Canada, and it's just boring for millions of miles to see. And like a lot of these prairies, they're just like farms and fields, and that's basically it. Adam takes a completely different approach to this. I mean, if you look up a prairie in the dictionary, all it says, it's just a landscape with very few trees or no trees. And that's exactly what Adam goes for. I mean, he's scrapped the farm-looking field sort of nonsense and sort of given a wasteland-looking field. I mean, it looks like a desert. There's like no vegetation at all. And something that we're going to find very consistent in the pattern of this particular set of lands is he's gone for some sort of spiral curvature sort of theme that we're going to see that's going to be in a lot of in all the arts. I mean, as we see these curves, more curves, but it at least gives me something to look at and stare at. And on top of that, it allows all sorts of details here as the landscape sort of sinks into the ground. What I really like, though, about this particular plains is that the use of colors is really rich and I don't know how to put it, but not overbearing. It's very gentle. It's very, very gentle. I mean, we start at the bottom here with a lot of browns and reds, and as we move up into the image, we move to like yellows and oranges, and then somehow we eventually transition to blue and then purple. So like one thing I really don't like with a lot of imagery or a lot of art for particular cards or lands is that it's just dominantly one color. I really don't like that. I like to see artists. I really like the artists that are using a variety of colors. While still, I mean, obviously this still looks like a plains. Obviously, it's still very yellowish, but we get other colors in here. All right, we got the purples, we got the blues, and it's a lot more attractive to look at. And in my opinion, it is much more satisfying sort of image to adore. So in my opinion, this is one of the very few art planes that is spectacular. It is a very good art for planes, and I even also like the contrast, the darkness at the bottom, and as it like raises much more brighter up into the sky. I think this is a fantastic image. The curving of the of the clouds, the sun in the background, some shadows. It's wonderful. This is, in my opinion, like a 10 out of 10 planes. It's a very nice planes by Adam Paquette. So let's move on to the island. Now the island is also very spectacular. I really like lands that sort of depict the magic of Magic. And we've got here an island in the clouds, I'm not actually sorry. I'm not actually sure if it's levitating off of the ground or if it's actually just barely hanging in there. But either way, it is a very magical looking island. And again, we've got this sort of curvature looking theme. It's a very curved island, both around and moving up. Same thing with the clouds. Very, very interesting way of depicting the clouds. Very blue in theme, but not only blue. We've got other colors, oranges, yellows coming from the sun. So it's a very, very nice art. I really like the detail both in the landscape of the island, but also we've got a lot of detail in the ocean. Of course, the ocean's got to have a lot of detail. The waves, the foam. It's got detail, and the composition is great. So one thing we've got, it's weighted very nicely in the middle and not so weighted very high at the top. So it gets more gentle as we move up the image. So it feels perfectly centered. I love the detail. I love the theme. I love the fact that as far as I can tell from the image, it looks like it's floating on its own, which makes, it's magic, people. It's magic. Why don't we have more lands that feel like they're part of magic? So anyway, I really like this island, and it's going to be... There's a lot of good islands out there. The plains, not a lot of good competition for the plains. So Adam just crushes on the plains. A lot of competition for the islands, but I think this is going to be an island for a lot of people. So moving into the swamp, the swamp is actually quite gorgeous. I really like the swamp because this, again, takes a lot of different colors. So it's very dark. We understand that it's a swampy, marshy mess, but we are making use of good hues of purple and blue and gray. But not only that, I love the detail when it comes to things like what are these? The lily pads, or I can't describe this sort of vegetation in the waters, but there is like a little bit of life to complement the darkness, the depth. The ghouliness of the swamp area, and it's so twisted. It looks like it's cursed. This sort of tree, probably dead, but it's twisted and moving in a whole bunch of other directions, gives it a more magic feel, which I really enjoy. So there's also a lot of competition for good swamps, but this one, again, the weighting and the composition of the swamp is perfect. It's great, and again, I really like the use of the color, people, matters so much. It complements the entire imagery so much to see this nice, gorgeous shade of green in the midst of this really dark image. It really makes it complements everything. I really like it. And again, it's a very detailed image. There's a lot of little details over this tree. So I really enjoy stuff like this. And again, the twist, the jaggedness, you can feel that there's something evil here. It complements what a swamp is supposed to be about. The swamp people aren't the good guys, they're the bad guys. And that's depicted here in the swamp. So moving on to the mountain. Mountain is also very, very good. It has an incredible amount of detail. Both, first off, we're super high in the clouds. And what I really like in lands is I love unknown. I really, really like unknown. And we're super far into the clouds, and there's a bunch of... Or we're super high up. I don't know how to describe this. Are we above the clouds here? Or is this a bunch of mist? Either way, it leaves the possibility of unknown territory. And for me, what I like a lot about magic is the unknown. It is exploration. It is a gateway into the unseen. That is what I really like to see in this sort of imagery. So we've got this mountain, again, following this sort of jagged spiral theme. It's not just a mountain, it's a volcano. You look more closely and we see lava spilling out the sides of this thing. So it's a very unique depiction of a volcano. Usually the lava is coming out the very, very top at the summit of a mountain. In this case, it's coming out the sides. It's spilling out the sides. We see the gases, the smoke that comes with that from the darks, and it's depicted really well on the darker side of the mountain. So on the darker side of the mountain, we see the lava, and it pops out. It catches your eye. It's gorgeous. And then, of course, we see some contrast from the sunny side of the mountain. It's like Mount Doom, honestly. It's like Mount Doom. I don't know if he borrowed any sort of inspiration from it. And the skies are very fiery. It's like the sky is on fire. A lot of detail in this one as well. It's a very, very gorgeous piece of art. This is a very, very nice mountain. Now, moving on with the forest, I can't say I really love the forest. This, as we saw in a lot of these other ones, everything is perfectly centered. This, it doesn't need to be perfectly centered. It doesn't have to be. But I don't really feel like this image works very well. I don't know if I'm supposed to be focusing on this or if I'm focusing on this. And on top of that, I found that the textures of this forest felt like something from Nintendo 64. I think because he's still trying to follow this sort of swirled curvature spiral theme, trying to fit it into the trees. No, I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, but it gives me nostalgia of like the textures from like Nintendo 64 games. If you know what I mean. But not really in love with this forest, to be honest. Does have a lot of detail. So that's a good thing going for it. We've got these sort of curved, spiraled clouds. But like this one for me would be a pass. I'm not as interested in this one as I am in the other four. The other four were incredibly good. Like we're talking all of them. The plains, the island, the swamp, the mountain. They're all 10 out of 10s. This one, I don't know, 5 out of 10. Like here's the thing. It's not bad, but if I'm going to like say foil out my deck with these things, I need to love it. I need to love the land. I need to love it. I can't love this. That's all. I just can't love it. On the whole, Adam Paquette did an incredible job with these arts. They're very, very good, and they will for sure be something to be sought after for a lot of people. So I'm not sure if these cards are coming in foil. I saw some images of them where the yellow borders, they had sort of a shine to them. In addition to just a matte background, and it looked pretty convincingly good. Now, I want to talk a little bit about their choice to be adding the frame like this and the mana symbol, because this was a really bold choice, and this I think is going to divide people. Certainly, when I look far back, what catches my eye the most? And frankly, it's this frame, and I feel like it's taking my eye off the art a little bit more than I would want to. It's like it's really strong. It's stronger than I think I would have wanted it to be. And what they did is they took a hybrid between Unstable, which was complete full art, and Unglued, which had this frame with the mana symbol, but previously they had a border around it. Now both of these sort of arts had popularity around them, and certainly I actually would really I prefer seeing the mana symbol. I'm a mana symbol guy. I want to see the mana symbol on my lands, and even though I have chosen the Unstable as my like island of choice, it doesn't have the mana symbol. But you know what? I voiced my opinion. I wish there was a mana symbol. I wish there was a mana symbol there. That being said, I'm not in love with this frame, and I think what it's going to come down to is I don't know if they were trying to appeal to the Unglued players who really like the frame, or they're trying to, they're just trying to make something different, a hybrid between Unglued, Unstable. But I really don't. I personally don't like this frame. I think this is going to be. I think this is going to divide people in between, like if you get these lands or not. If you like this frame, if you love the Unglued frame, then this is just a compliment to what is already a really gorgeous art. If you don't like the frame, like it's not for you, then that might kill it for you. Something like particularly in this image with the island, I can't tell if the island is coming from the ground or if it's floating because the mana symbol is in the way. It's actually obstructing the image in a pretty big manner. I mean, I like the unknown, but I don't like that something is like I don't like that it's being hidden from me. Like it's just something is just directly in front of me and screwing that up. So that's unfortunate. And another thing about the mana symbol, it's not even a good-looking mana symbol. It's not. It's like they're just basically copying pasting it very similarly from Unglued. It's the exact same style. What I would like to see, I would like to see the artist make the mana symbol. Like draw it into the image somehow, some way, however they want to do it. I want to see their style of the mana symbol, and I would love to see other artists depict the mana symbol in their style, however they want to do it. Because this feels like sort of a CG thing just plotted onto this art, and it doesn't. It feels a bit off. It's not like it's completely off. Like it's fine, but it doesn't feel like it's really part of this card, really part of this image, or like it belongs. So I would prefer to see the artist actually make the symbol themselves and maybe plot it onto the image. I think that would be cool. If you like, so anyway, what it's going to come down to is if you like this frame, it's beautiful. It looks great. It doesn't take away from the composition of the image. In a lot of ways, it's framing the image very nicely. I think it's framing this island very, very nicely. It's framing the swamp. It's framing the mountain. It's framing the landscape. It's a little bit off on the forest, but it is what it is. So it does frame things up very, very nicely. But that being said, like I think it's at least for me personally, it's very distracting. You're gonna let me know in the comments section below if that makes the art better or if it makes the art worse for you. Or not to me, the art, the card. If it makes the card better or makes the card worse for you. That being said, these are some of the best arts, I think, for lands in the game. It's definitely going to be in the top 10, especially the plains. Like you can't shop around very well for the plains, in my opinion. There's not much to pick from, and I personally like this image, even though it's like an image of a wasteland. It's actually a very colorful image, subtly colorful. I do enjoy this plains composition, and the design of this island is great. Great swamp. Great alternative to a lot of other swamp arts out there. Very unique mountain down here. And then we got the Banjo Kazooie forest. What is it? TikTok Wood? I can't remember what it was called. There was sort of a forest level in Banjo Kazooie. So you let me know which of these lands are your favorite. Are you planning to pick up the unsanctioned lands? This has been Nikachu, Merfolk Master, talking about the basic lands coming from Unsanctioned.